Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out to make another marble, and today's word is UFO, or 3 words if you want to call it 3 words. So I've got some ideas. I got a whole lot of different glass laid out here, a couple little simple tool things I put together. Dive into it, see what we can do. So I'm going to try and build up a separate little 3D UFO looking thing, encased in clear, and incorporate that into the marble. And it's got a lot of different challenges with this concept. It's just rattling around in my head. I was going to try and get out here yesterday and do a little test run, try some things, but I didn't get around to that. So I'm just going to jump in and see where we go. I get these ideas in my head, and as much as I try and step through the process, when it comes to actually doing it, it's usually a little different. So the biggest concern is trying to get something that looks relatively clean and is encapsulated inside the marble without a bunch of distortions. So the distortion problem is yet to be resolved. I haven't really thought that through entirely. It's going to kind of depend on what it looks like. So I need to start out with something to start building on. So I want kind of a flared out end to a rod. I'm using a 15 millimeter rod here or something. And this will represent some good portion of the encapsulating glass. According to my mental diagrams. And one of those situations where a little bit more is better than too little. We can always cut away some glass, but doing additive glass, every time you do that you get weird optical ripples going on. So I know the modern terminology has moved on to UAP, but I never really quite got into the UAP thing. I mean, I get it, why they turned to saying that, but what I'm interested in is good old-fashioned UFOs. I want a physical craft flying around in the air or space. So hopefully I can run through this and I'll maybe make some cuts to shorten this up a bit, but if I totally screw this up, I'm going to keep trying today. I've got some time today to try again if I have to, but I'd prefer to just run with whatever I get. This is a first time attempting this, and we'll just have to see how it goes. So just do a simple drop down onto the graphite. And since this is going inside marble, it needs to stay pretty small, and that's going to be another bit of a trick. It's going to make a dimple, so I just have a steel rod that I rounded off the end. So actually I may do this 2 things in in fast succession. I need a dimple, and then inside that dimple I need a little pinpoint to give a little bubble. So it's already very hard to see what I'm doing. This needs to be a pretty small scale. So the first thing is I've got some ion UV reactive green. And I'm trying to get a dot of this just over my little needle point. And then I've got my other little torch here that may be easier to get in here and kind of work some of these colors in. So this is going to be the top of our little craft. I want that kind of smoothed in. I'll try and retain some shaping. Okay, first color on the top. So these are some colors from Greasy Glass, and they look beautiful in this stage. But inside a finished marble, these are probably going to be very pale color, very pastel. I'll try and get these fill in here. This color in particular. So it's going to kind of fill in that little dimple that I made. So this way I can kind of control the gravity a little bit, and where the heat is, and try and get this to Alright, next layer. Need quite a bit larger layer, and I think we'll use green here. Just trying to do kind of a layered cake. So we want to squish this out a bit. Now this phase, I got a bolt, round-headed carriage bolt, and I kind of smoothed up the surface of that, cleaned off any whatever coating might be on there. Don't want any weird zinc deposit on here. Hopefully that's down to just plain steel. I'm going to kind of warm this up and see if we can coax this shape. Okay. Now I want to add some more UV, and again I'm going to keep doing this with little pinpricks here. I'm going to try doing this right on the edge. Okay, the next color of UV, we're going to do Nova. So I got a whole bunch of these laid out here. That was our ion. Nova is yellow. So by having these little pinpoints, I'll get a little bubble. So if you don't have the UV light, you'll see something is there. Okay, and we're going to go for our next color layer, which is going to be kind of the main. It's already getting pretty large here, so this will be our main body. Want to get all these tight corners fused in. I'm going to press that in. blue V. It's a tag color. And on the other spots, we're going to do some Lucy. Alright, melt those guys in. Okay, then back to the bottom side, which probably won't be seen very much, but I want to add one more color pattern on the bottom. Okay, just letting this kind of melt and come together on its own, as if this was an implosion. See if I can get some of this edge to roll around. Okay, starting to get some clear on the back. A little awkward here, trying to get this clear glass to fall back onto surround the edges there. Okay, this phase, it's encapsulated. And I'm going to just kind of throw some good heat into it, get it to melt together. Okay, another thing I'd like to try and do is just wrap a little bit more clear around that outside edge. Try and do this gently. So the trouble with doing a wrap like that with clear is it's going to give some optical distortion, but I'm going to try and keep the other more gross 3D distortions to a minimum. Now I better take a sip of coffee here. Get some inspiration from my marbles I've got on this mug. Now I need to punty this off, cut away some excess glass. I don't know, maybe people look at this and think it just looks like a birthday cake, but that's one of the descriptive names of one type of UFO, so maybe that works. Okay, and as usual, my little bits and bobs, this is going to go into a a hot garage. And for these little pieces, I just use this little curling iron heater. Can sit in there, just hunky-dory. Now, before I forget what the heck I'm up to next, I need to work on the frit and some UV glass cane. It's going to be kind of more like just a rope. I have to start somewhere, so I need a little clear paddle. So I wanted something unusual in the background. And I had a couple different ideas of what the background was going to be, and this is just the latest thing I thought of this morning. Thought I'd give this a try. I'm sure it's not going to quite do what's in my head, but okay, get a little bit of a gather. Press it out into a little paddle. Okay, so I'm going to do some turbo cobalt frit. Pretty intense dark stuff. So we'll do a heat on here. Okay, we're going to melt this in. Then we're going to add some, this UV glass is orange atomic kumquat. Okay, got to gather this going on. Okay, then we're going to pick up some more frit. might as well do the other side. We're going to build this up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put more of this UV reactive glass on the other side where I put down some frit. Couple different ideas going on here at the same time. I'm going to melt this in. I was thinking I was going to add some more clear onto this outside faces, but I don't think I will. Maybe I will just a little bit. Alright, kind of a crazy, chaotic mix here with the idea. Like I say, this is the cane that's going to be more just kind of like a rope. I'm not trying to make a ribbon deal really. I'm kind of avoid that. But it's going to have some of that effect no matter what. Alright, we're going to replace our punty on the left side. If you're off center, you just got to heat up that punty connecting point and try and get back something close to center. To get this a little thinner along the whole length so that I can pull this out without getting into trouble like this with the attachment point. We kind of do this in phases, like I always try and talk about. The initial twist up, and then getting it cylindrical, and then getting the cylinder to be workable situation with the handles you prefer, and all that. Alright, now, keep your flame here. Okay. Now, that's the prep stuff is all ready. Now, just some assembly required. Alright, we're going to build up the gather with our main clear rod, and then somehow try and incorporate that UFO onto the end here and turn that into a Vortex marble. I can already see this is not going to quite go that direction. This one may be more of a fishbowl than a Vortex. We'll see. Alright, well, let's see See if we can marry these up and make something happen. That to settle down. So I don't want it straight on the end. That'd be too easy. So I want to do this on the side. A little trimming. So this kind of thing in particular, I really have to work a lot just with gravity. Any pushing around right now is just going to make some really nasty distortions. And sometimes these manipulations is just going to require some heat and some cooling before this is going to make much sense. Okay. Now I really got to chill this for a minute. It's placed in there at kind of a goofy angle, is what I wanted. Now this next step, I just need to get things back into kind of on axis. I'm trying to horse this around to get this alignment that I want. I think we're going to try and accomplish this with this taper push. Have a sharper angle here at the tip. Okay. Well, you know, just trying it out. Don't know until you try it. That's what my video series is really kind of all about, is just trying some different things out, see how it goes. So I want to pick a spot, because we're already pretty fat diameter bigger than I usually am. So this is going to be the diameter here. Making cane to use in application like this, and when I'm using it, I'm always worried about running out of cane. Okay. Okay, the background. Not sure how good a choice this is, but I'm going to put some butterscotch into the background. Okay. Well, a lot of that up to this point is all pretty stressful because it's not anything I've done before, and I really wasn't too sure how that was all going to go. We've got some beautiful weather right now. I woke up though, it was 34 degrees, a little colder than I thought it would be. But yesterday when I thought I might try and build up my little UFO piece, I had a few chores to do, including changing out the winter tires on our Toyota. We've got an old 1990 4Runner Ray bought when it was brand new. Bought it new. And last year I never did swap on the summer tires. We don't drive it very much. It's kind of the biggest time we really need it is in the winter time. The conditions are really bad. The thing will power through a lot. And it's the only thing we have to haul our little trailer. It's just a flatbed utility trailer. But if we ever need to get some materials or something, I can tow that little trailer here around locally. But these days we're not even probably putting 1,000 miles a year on it. So I put the new muffler on it a couple weeks ago, and now I swapped around the tires. The summer tires, the wheels are pretty cool looking. The winter tires are old steel, rusty, nasty looking rims. But for me, fortunately I do have a space with a cement floor in the big shop where I can pull the vehicle in there. I don't do a lot of auto mechanic work, but a couple things I can do. Swapping out tires is a hassle on that thing that sits up so high. You have to have a tall jack to get started with. So I have my own wrong ways of doing that. We won't talk about that. But this last week, oh gosh, I had a couple orders to get together, and I'm trying to get ready for a little operation this Ray had. So I won't go into any real details, but it was over a 5-hour operation, so it was significant. And she's doing really well. I'm really proud of her. She's handling her meds and all her issues she has to attend to, and I'm kind of off the hook from trying to take care of her on a daily basis, but try and take care of the rest of the things around here that are kind of my task, for mowing and working on cars and stuff. And fitting in some glass work and some video editing on top of it all. But we're doing real well, and we appreciate all of you tuning in on our adventures, however you find us. Anytime I kind of change things up so drastically, I'm kind of out of my usual patterns, or I'm kind of not sure where I'm at with the size of this finished marble. And in order to get a consistent size at the end of the process, you kind of want to follow the same steps that are familiar to get there. But I found, well, there's two things that affect the size of the work that I do. One is my eyesight. Depends on what kind of reader glasses I'm wearing through the years. And the other, with this kind of work, is just the size of the glass rod that I'm holding, the size that I'm starting with. It kind of gauges somewhere in my brain what I'm working on. Okay, get this end point heated in. Let this round out a little bit. And still my alignment is all goofy on my holding rod, but we're going to just kind of ignore that for now. Well, I'm hoping that this is going to be interesting when you hit it with the UV light. Hopefully kind of reveals some kind of secret things that light up. Yeah, that's way off around, but we won't worry about that. So we've got some jet black to start with on the back side. And then we've got Unobtanium. I could be wrong. This might be the IO Star. I think it's the IO Star, which is my other color I intended to use. I just announced it with the wrong name. There's some dreaded bubbles. Okay, a little pokey stick. Get rid of some of those little Okay, well, let's go with that. So how's everybody doing out there? Hope we're all doing okay. Hanging in there. I struggle with keeping my focus in the now. Actually, I go quiet, you know, doing this marble process because I get in steps that are... One thing I like about the glass work is that you're really in the moment. You're focused on what's happening right now, right in front of you. And there's other steps like this that just take a little time. Not much thought going into doing this step perfectly. But I tend to be consumed a little bit too much by the future. I tend not to think much about the past. I've had a lot of different, kind of lived a lot of different lives already at my age. But growing up with, My Favorite Martian and the Jetsons and Lost in Space and Star Trek and 2001 Space Odyssey. I was a young kid when that came out. I thought the world would be in a different place by now. So I have a lot of curiosity about what's going to happen next, but I really thought we'd be in a different place. Okay, I'll wait just a minute for that to, even though it's already way out of whack, I don't want it going any further out of whack. Let go there, but get back on track. Quite literally. There's a bubble right there. I'm going to take that bubble out. The process of raking can introduce bubbles. Yeah, got kind of a skinny space here. I don't really need to do this one, but a little bubble there. That went quite well. First loop needs a little attention as usual. Oh, then this nasty bubble. Well, our apple orchard, our apple tree, we have a little fruit orchard, so we've got 2 apple trees, and the one I prune really heavily. It always just grows like a maniac and needs tons of pruning, and it's got lots of blossoms on it. But our other apple tree, which I did minimal pruning on, and sometimes it bears, it's usually one of the most reliable trees in a little orchard. It has a handful of blossoms on it. Our pear tree, which is just a gorgeous big full-grown tree by now, it goes way up pretty tall. It's just loaded with blossoms, as it typically is. We've got a pie cherry tree that's a really old tree that's looking really sad. It's pretty decrepit, but it's all the branches on it are got growth, and it's busting out blossoms right now. And then our little plum tree, Italian plum tree, it's generally been a really good, reliable over many, many years. It was a super reliable tree, had tons of fruit. And then we had issues with insects, and after a couple of years we kind of got that sorted out, how to deal with that, and then the last couple of winters have been harsh. It's had a little bit of winter kill, the branches, some branches died off, but it's pruned up and looking good, and I think we're in good shape with our fruit trees right now. So that's kind of cool. That end had a crack in it, and it busted right off. get my attachment point. It's hard when things are all wibbly wobbly to get on a clean alignment. Well, it's getting visually a little easier to understand. And once we get to some point, we can round this out in the L-marver, maybe straighten up our overall shape and pattern. Got just about enough built up here. And we're working on cutting this rod loose here. We'll kind of melt back this pointy end here. Ooh, toasty tools. Pretty lengthy session out here today. Yeah, I wish there was a way to put into these videos the music that I'm listening to, because all these quiet spaces for the video they're not quiet for me. Plus the headphones help cut out all the noise of the torch and the ventilation. There's a lot of white noise going on. All that noise is not really good for your hearing. Listening to a lot of that hour after hour, day after day. Alright, now we can go back around and skim off some thinner glass. Don't have to worry about that edge so much. Alright, getting it done. Gonna work our way around and around in layers here. Okay, see how we look in here. Now we just got to transform the shape here into a sphere. And we got to work our way through a couple steps to get there. Seems pretty common to run into people who ask, how do you get it round? It must be really hard to make it round. And, well, it can take a little bit of time. It's actually the easiest part of making a marble, as far as technically, or artistically, or whatever, however you want to look at it. It's just simple mechanics. I have to say, at this point, it looks like we have a lot more glass out here than we really need, so I'm going to shave off a touch. Yeah, that side still might be kind of large, I don't know. I know getting to the size and proportions would be a little tricky with this. So this will definitely be an artistic impression. And I'm hoping the UV stuff adds a little fun to it. And this I perhaps, try to be a little too complicated with it. Probably could have gone a lot simpler path to making a little UFO piece. And I don't know how much it's going to just distort in these steps. Just needs a lot of heat and time to soak that heat in and get the whole shape to start changing. Well, there's a whole barrage of different colored glass in here, and UV glass, and backside I'm using this IO Star for the first time as one of the backside colors. So this may not turn out all that spectacular, but it accomplishes a number of things. Even that background cane that I made with frit and UV glass, that I've never made a cane like that with frit, so that's kind of cool to see how that works out. coming together. It's kind of a, it can be kind of a frustrating phase of it, just getting it to marry up the two sides and get to where we can actually get some final shaping going on. Change axes like that from hanging to coming off on the side rotating. It can be kind of tricky getting that wobbly punchy to behave. Okay, now we're in a cool down phase. Let that marble mold suck up some heat. It's going to make that mold mighty hot. And then come in here and just kind of plain polish the backside. A nice cherry red, and let that settle down. Well, we're getting there. This is actually the last punchy put on here. Yeah, knock on wood, as long as nothing else goes crazy. Most of these UV colors, they don't really behave when they're hot. I think you can see what's going on there yet. Well, today's marble's been kind of a fun little excursion for me. It's pushed me well out of my comfort zone. I keep thinking, next marble I make, I'm going to do just one that I've done lots of and makes me feel comfortable. Then I come up with some silly idea and I stress about how the heck that's going to work. Okay, Got that front face pretty well heated and trying to get it balanced out on the puntee here. Balanced out with heat. Alright, wait a moment. Into the marble mold very gently. Try and get it spinning. Okay, a couple trips in the marble mold, and then we'll just do some cycles without touching any more tooling. You keep hitting and tooling, you keep creating new ripples. At some point you have to just say that's shaped properly, and then we're just going to do our heat and let it cool down. And while it's heating, obviously, the cooling down is actually just as important, if not more so. But keep turning long past you think it could ever be trying to droop, because at a small level it's still moving. That's one mistake I see a lot of people do. They come out of the fire and they just stop rotating, and it's like, boop. Well, you just lost your nice round shape. That should about do it. Alrighty, gang. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you found something there that's inspired you to do something with glass, or maybe you're just looking at glass work for fun, see how the heck these things are done. Don't take this as an instruction on how to do it. I just was winging it today, see what I could come up with. But I'm pretty pleased with what I got going on. There were several steps to this one that I was pretty concerned. I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work. Some things about it didn't punch the steps. Be curious to see how those colors turn out. Hopefully you can see some color layering. Alright. Knock this marble off with a puntee here, do a little wet chill. Okay, I think they're looking pretty good. Whew. Well, I've been recording for about 2 hours and 20 minutes here. We'll cut that down a little bit. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. if you're in real time, get out there and enjoy spring in the northern hemisphere. I'm not sure what you guys are up to in the southern hemisphere. But into the kiln we go. Go through its annealing cycle overnight, and we'll see what we get tomorrow. And it'll be really fun to hit that with the UV light and see what's happening. So you guys all take care of yourselves and take care of people around you, friends and family and people you meet in the street. And we give our warm regards and blessings to all of you. Until next time, take care.